Szymendera from Sweet Home High School, and I hope this screencast gives you a little bit of an insight into your child's class as they study social studies throughout this school year. Our course is divided up into two academic school years, ninth grade and 10th grade. And in ninth grade, we call it pre AP or Global 9 Honors. Those words might get used interchangeably, but for the most part, we're going to be looking at really three main units. The first one is an introduction, geography, and world religions, and we sort of blend world religions in the ancient and classical worlds as we study them in the post-classical worlds. But in total, there's about 7 units where the AP World History course is going to dominate, and they'll pick up a lot of that past the year 1450, first global age, basically. To present is what they will study in 10th grade, which really is the AP World History course, and that's when they will take the AP World History exam. So you could take a look at that and press pause at any time throughout this screencast to read some of the things a little bit more in depth. In our course, we will take a look at a couple of things that we will try to get the kids to work through as a skill. How to contextualize things, how to appropriately compare, how to find causation around different things. And one of our favorites is to look at the continuity and changes over a time period. And this is kind of an interesting thing because we'll take a look at a place in the world. For example, this course is going to study mainly Asia, Africa, Europe. And if we take the Mediterranean Sea, for example, over the course of time, it has significantly changed with the people around that region. So from the time of the Greeks versus the Romans, and then later to the Mediterranean world of the Middle Ages, and then the Islamic Empire, lots of things have changed in that region. So it's going to be a challenge, but the kids eventually get to learn how to do this, and it's because they could put some context around it. And this is a challenge for 9th and 10th graders because their background knowledge just isn't as great as it will be by the time they're done. Moving along, some of the different things that we'll ask kids to work through and hopefully get to different levels of how to make arguments about things. And this is the most important piece here, is to see how to take a claim and develop it with multiple pieces of evidence. And we always tell students it's not good enough to just have the right answer. To support that answer with evidence and detail is really one of the keys that will separate the Global 9 course from the Regents course in social studies. Throughout our class, we will use the lens. There's actually 6 different lenses that we'll use. They're big ideas. We try to have students look at the environment around a particular time period. Culture, this is about beliefs and different religious systems. Governance, of course, takes care of anything political with regard to state foundations, but it goes further into different rebellions and revolts and things of that nature through the course of time. Economic systems, how that works, how we trade goods and services. The social interactions in organizations. So too often kids think about things, adults as well, think about just upper and lower classes. But of course, there really is a lot of ways that people are organized in society. It may be by gender, it may be by religion, it may be by various influences. Power comes in the way of wealth and knowledge. So we'll take a look at those things as they apply. And we always try to look at how technology and innovation develops and modifies throughout the course of human history and the consequences it has. In our class, you'll see that certainly we rely heavily on Schoology, which is a learning management system. Other school districts might use programs like Google Classroom and so on. We've been using Schoology at Sweet Home for at least 7 or 8 years. I've been one of the first teachers that began to use Schoology and have continued to help teachers train through Schoology so that they could organize their course usefully for the kids and parents alike. What you see here on the screen is a page capture from the web-based program of Schoology. And the way I will divide my course up is I have a document here that will give kids different links and things to daily class routines and so forth. But then essentially there'll be 4 folders, one for each marking period. I use the green color for the folders to identify that that is our active unit. And if you click into marking period 1, for example, you might bounce into the weekly um, organization of our folders. So, for example, in week 8, you might see that there is a self-paced piece, and of course, this is going along with some of the remote instruction that may be taking place. There's always going to be a screencast that may have some additional information from the teacher, whether it's a lecture or whether it's supporting materials or just instructions for kids to go through so that they know what is expected of them. But there's assignments and assessments and things that teachers are able to go in and provide feedback to kids. So that's pretty much how our Schoology course will be organized. Off to the side, there's always a place for the students to see just what their assignments are and what they could expect for the upcoming days and week. Moving along, one of the things that I do a lot of is use ThinkTech solutions. ThinkTech, gothinktech.com, is a great resource for teachers to create tasks to engage students. One of the most challenging things, despite COVID and despite remote instruction, is trying to get all students to participate. This tool allows teachers to create a variety of different kinds of tasks, string them together into a more complete lesson, and it gives students a chance to not be dominated by dynamic personalities. It gives them a chance to think before everyone shouts out answers. Here is a Think It activity I chose to show something that we recently worked on in class, and you can see that the bigger words are going to be the more duplicated responses that students have. But in a very short amount of time, any teacher can collect dozens and dozens of responses from kids as they're thinking about the topic and the prompt or the question at hand. On the teacher side, you'll see that it comes back with a lot of different, this would have been the word cloud, but in this same activity, you'll see that the teacher is going to gain statistical information so that they know how to get involved with students' misunderstandings. So if there's a gap in instruction, if there's a gap in instruction, the teacher can address those things right then and there. But again, it's a great way to engage students along the way, whether they be in the classroom or being remote. Speaking of which, this was interesting. I popped this up on the screen because by the time you might be watching this video, we might be very well near school shutdowns again, and we're living in the most challenging times for education and our students. But interestingly, on the first day of school, I asked kids when they thought or if we might go remote and how long away from the first day of school it would be. Interestingly, many students picked 1 month and 2 months, and you could see. But the point is that the teacher gets statistical information based on student responses, and it comes up in really easy to read type things for both the students and the teachers. So I use this just about every single class to try to engage students, hold them accountable, and of course, learn what they need more help with. The best way to contact me, and I'm sure many teachers, is to just email them. One of my goals each day is to be sure that I clean out my inbox from parents and students. You'd be surprised when your child emails their teachers. I get many emails after 9 o'clock at night. Not that I necessarily answer them that late, but they do have access to their teachers, and I try to answer everything before I leave school, and then as soon as I get in the morning, which for me is just about 7 o'clock each day, try to respond to everything. So I hope that this is helpful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me directly, and or have your child do the same. But we're looking forward to a good school year, and I look forward to your support. Thanks an awful lot.